Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you had a great weekend and happy Veterans Day. There is a ton of stuff to get to today, so let's get into it. Make sure that you subscribe, like, share, and comment. We appreciate you. And let's start with the Chiefs, who are on their quest for three-peat and driving everyone insane. Let me tell you something about this. The Chiefs are lucky and they're good. Everyone is going to ask today, are the Chiefs lucky? Are the Chiefs lucky? They keep getting breaks. No, they keep getting breaks because they're great. When you're great, things tend to go your way. You got the juices going. The sun shines brighter. There's no traffic. You get all the green lights. That's how this works, and that's what the Chiefs are. The Chiefs are on their way to a three-peat, and so things are just going to fall in their path. That is the way that it goes. We are in the middle of a current dynasty. I don't know if some of you guys remember, but when the Patriots were in the middle of their dynasty, we used to have the same conversations. Oh, the Patriots are so lucky. The Patriots are in the AFC East. They don't have anyone to compete against. Oh, all the quarterbacks are bad. All the fumbles go their way. They get all the calls. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. You're right. Yes, all of those things were happening. And all of those things are happening for the Chiefs now. But that is the way that it goes. They are the dynasty. They are a great team, right? We want them to blow everybody out. Everything is supposed to be Alabama versus Panera Bread State. That's not how it works sometimes. All right. These games are close. They look like they could go either way. And somehow they always manage to go the Chiefs' way. That is what happened. This is the fourth win this season with a walk-off play for the Chiefs. Things are just going in their favor. It does take skill, however, to block a field goal. It's not like it was some fluke, okay, or some call or something like that. You still have to be able to do that. They block a field goal. Everyone across the board is going to have a moment for them and come up big. They are 9-0, still undefeated. You don't have to blow teams out to be a good team in this league. And here's really what it is. We're starting to see a separation of the good, great, and really bad. Like if you're mid at this point in the season, you're just not a competitive team. Like we're past the halfway point of the season. Things are starting to get down to the wire. These games really matter. We're in the middle of divisional play. This is what's going to determine who's going to win the division. These games are going to determine who is going to get the wild card spot. That is where we are right now. So we're really starting to see who the good teams are. And here's the thing about the Chiefs. They have so much equity that they can't fall into that category of, well, do they need to lose a couple games so that they can know how to face adversity, or do they need to lose a couple games to just come back down to earth, or have that moment where they gather together as a team? Again, they are on the way to a third straight Super Bowl. They've been doing this. They have a great coach. They have a great culture. They have savvy Hall of Fame veterans. Okay. They know what they're doing. This is not the Vikings. This is not the Eagles of last year on these stretches where we're like, hmm, are they a good team, or are things just kind of going their way this season? No, no, no. The Chiefs are a good team with, as I said last week, and we'll continue to say again, because for some reason we keep forgetting, the best player on the planet in Patrick Mahomes, the best coach in the league in Andy Reid, lots of other great pieces, a great system, a great culture. They are the current champions. They have enough equity. Yes, things are going their way. And yes, if you hate the Chiefs, I'm sorry for you. It's going to be a long journey over the next few years for you. But yeah, the Chiefs are lucky, but they are also good. And luck favors the prepared, and that's what the Chiefs are. Speaking of the other really good team in the league, the Lions have this insane comeback against the Texans. The Lions are like the Chiefs. They're both lucky and good, but they don't have quite the equity that the Chiefs have, obviously, in the postseason. But the Lions were a really good team last year. They have come back to be a really good team this year. And the Texans are a good team. But that win yesterday was crazy. To have 5 interceptions and still win is nuts. That's just nuts. It's the first team to do that since 1970, to throw 5 picks, trail by at least 15 points, and still win the game. So this is an outlier. Now, 1970 still sounds like 30 years ago to me, but it is in fact not 30 years ago. The Lions are 8-1 for the first time since 1954, which is also not 30 years ago, and they are heavy favorites to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Only the Chiefs have better odds to win the Super Bowl than the Lions. And I love this for the Lions. Again, I can admit when I'm wrong. It's very rare, but I was wrong about Dan Campbell. I did not think that he was going to be able to put it together. I don't like the rah we we eat kneecaps. That doesn't do anything for me. Be good at situational football and coach the team. But he has somehow managed to walk that line of like being that man Campbell and actually winning games. Now, there's still some questions about what he is situationally in the postseason, and we'll find out this year. But overall, none of that matters to me. They are a really, really, really great team. They have great pieces. They have a great culture. They have a great run game. Jared Goff is still managing to put it together, even after having one of the worst games of his life, 5 interceptions, and he still manages to keep his poise about him and come back and win that game, which should tell you a lot about Jared Goff. He's no longer going to be in the MVP conversation after that game. Lamar and others are playing such great football that's not even going to be considered, but that is irrelevant. They are the best team in the NFC. To go through that type of game and still come back and win it shows you what kind of stuff they're made of. So love what the Lions are doing, and that is just a crazy outcome to that game. If I told you that Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions, you would have thought they lost by 30. All right, my Steelers, let's get into it. Shout out to Mike Williams. I love it. Russell Wilson hitting Mike Williams for the game-winning touchdown against Washington. They beat Washington, who is a really, really good team in the NFC, with Jaden Daniels on an incredible rookie run. I've talked to you guys about Dan Quinn and what I think about him and that team, but I picked the Steelers to win this game because of Mike Tomlin. Tomlin versus a rookie. Come on. Mike Tomlin is a Hall of Fame coach. He is a defensive coach. The Steelers have an excellent defense. When you have a rookie quarterback going up against a Hall of Fame level defensive coach, it usually doesn't end well for the rookie quarterback. Russ has also been a perfect addition to this team. I didn't know how this whole thing was going to play out with the quarterback situation. I don't love quarterback competitions. I thought it was very wild how Tomlin was talking about Justin Fields and Russell Wilson and how all this was going to play out. Got it, coach. Totally understand. Defense and coaching is why they are legit contenders, and they are legit contenders. And I cannot wait. Sorry, my nose is so itchy right now. Don't know what's going on. I cannot wait for this Steelers-Ravens game next week. Everyone is so high on Lamar, as they should be. He's having an unbelievable season. The Steelers are always consistent, and Russ has shown to be the addition that the Steelers needed, the quarterback away that the Steelers needed. He's fitting right in. He is adapted to the culture. He is adapted to the style of play that the Steelers want to play. He is making the passes and making the plays that we needed the quarterback to make to open up this offense to score more points. It's been brilliant to watch. I love how this game played out. This is the Steelers' first divisional game. So this is a perfect opportunity to show what they really are. Divisional games always go a little weird. Even if one team is really great and the other team is terrible, you never know with these divisional matchups. But I think this is the perfect time for this game because we are all high on the Steelers right now, and we should be. They are playing really good football. They're playing both sides of the ball. The defense is terrific and definitely a championship level defense. So now we're going to find out what Russ and this offense is about going up against the Ravens, and really what this defense is about with Lamar playing at an MVP level. So I can't wait for this game coming up this weekend. And I love that this game played out the way that it did. Jaden Daniels and the Commanders are a great team. They're going to be in the playoffs. He's still having an unbelievable season. But Mike Tomlin against a rookie quarterback, a great defensive coach against a rookie quarterback, this is usually how it's going to end. But it also came down to Russ making the play that we brought him in to make. So I love what's going on with Russ and the Steelers. I feel like I have something on my nose, maybe. Is that what it is? Can you guys see? I don't know. It's tickling me. All right, so it's time to talk about the Cardinals. We got to put some respect on the Cardinals. We have to. I didn't want to do it. I didn't know what they were going to look like. I think that Kyler Murray is a talented player, but they've seemingly put it together. I told you last week, and they had an unbelievable thrashing of the New York Jets, destroyed them 31-6. The fact that the Jets were favored in this game is really laughable. Kyler might have played the best game of his career, 22 of 24, 266 passing yards, 3 total touchdowns. He's also second in QBR to only Lamar Jackson, who is considered to be in pole position for the MVP, and we know how well he is playing this year. They are in first place in the NFC West. The 49ers didn't look very convincing yesterday. Obviously, they are a team that has a lot of equity, so as the rest of the season plays out, we'll see how they start to shape up. Getting Christian McCaffrey back, cool. But the Cardinals are a good team. It doesn't roll off the tongue well. We haven't had a lot of reasons to trust the Cardinals over the past few years. But wow, 31-6 over the Jets when the Jets were favored. And listen, I didn't think the Jets would be favored, but I also didn't think they were going to lose 31-6. The Cardinals keep doing it. At some point, I think we have to kind of embrace them and see where this train takes us, because Kyler's playing really well, and maybe it just took a little time to put it together. We're very impatient with quarterbacks. We're very impatient with organizations once we get high on them and they disappoint. I mean, the Cardinals keep doing it week after week. I'm hesitant as well. I have anxiety about diving in as well, but they just keep finding ways to prove us wrong. So I think we kind of have to submit that the Cardinals are a good team this year. And that was an embarrassing loss for the Jets. I mean, we've got to stop with this Jets propaganda. I mean, there's nothing more that we love as Americans than propaganda, but my God, can we give it a rest? It's over. It is over. Yeah, I said last week it was over. I knew everyone was going to get back on board with this after that win for the Jets. No, it's over. It's over. It played out exactly as I thought it would. It's actually played out worse than I thought it would, because I actually thought they would maybe be competitive. It's not surprising, I should say, that it's playing out the way that it is. But that was just, whew, that's embarrassing. I think we're done with the Jets. Speaking of teams that we're done with, the Cowboys. Cowboys went from awful to worse. It's going to be a long second half of football for the Cowboys. There's nothing to be hopeful about. Mike is back. He makes some exciting plays. He does what he always does. He's one of the best players in the league, one of the biggest contributors on his side of the ball. It's not enough. It's not enough. The backup quarterback looked exactly like I thought he would. Cooper Rush was really, really good. Not great, really good during that stretch in 2022. Do you know what was great in 2022? The defense. You know what was really good in 2022? The run game. None of that is happening right now. You can't expect Cooper Rush to come out here and look better than Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott was struggling. By the way, Dak is out for the season. So what are we getting excited about? You saw Trey Lance in a couple packages. Great. This team is just not good. And that's really the disappointing part, because we have seen teams lose their starting quarterback and still be able to maintain the momentum that they built before the starting quarterback went out over the past couple years. I mean, look at Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. Look at the Cleveland Browns last year. They've found ways to patchwork together wins and even make it to the playoffs with backup quarterbacks or guys that they just pulled off the couch in Joe Flacco. That is not the case for the Cowboys. And it's because outside of losing Dak Prescott, the rest of the team is not good enough. They were struggling when Dak Prescott was there. This is just not a good team. I don't know that we will even talk about them for the rest of the year. They are out of it. The season is over. There's no hope of Dak Prescott coming back. His season is done. And they hadn't built any momentum for a backup quarterback to come in and maintain or carry them with great play from the rest of the team into a potential postseason berth. So there's nothing here. You know, when you look at what the Steelers did last year, when you look at what the Browns did last year with backup quarterbacks, the team itself was good, right? They had already built some momentum before the starter went out. That's not the case here. So what is there to talk about with the Cowboys anymore? And I have to say, as much as I was high on what Jerry did for the Cowboys last year, 9 All-Pros, Dak has the best year of his career. He's an MVP finalist. He's an All-Pro. They win 12 games for the third year in a row. They won 16 games at home. They're beating the hell out of the bad teams, you know, still struggling against good teams, but regardless, 12 wins is nothing to be shy about. I thought he did maybe his best work, Jerry did last year, in putting together that roster and giving them an opportunity to be a good team. He trusted Mike McCarthy after Kellen Moore left to run the offense, and it worked. Dak had the best year of his career. But then we get to this year. And the equity from one year to the next doesn't necessarily carry over in this league. What have you done for me lately? And as great of a job as Jerry did, and as disappointing as the players and the coaches were in the postseason, this year, I don't think I can put it at the feet of the players. No, they're not playing well, but they do not have the same roster that they did last year. They have no semblance of a run game. They cannot stop the run once again. They do not have any other weapons outside of CeeDee Lamb. That is all on Jerry. And this constant like carrying the deals out until the very, very end so that we keep talking about them on all the shows. Okay, well, if you sign guys earlier, you save money because the next guy signs and then the negotiation becomes harder and then they want that money. You could have signed Dak for cheap multiple times. Multiple times you could have gotten Dak for cheaper, which would have given you more money to put together pieces for this roster because he claims this is about money. Now, we all know if you want to move money around and get pieces, you can. But if you want to cry broke, this is your fault. You waited forever to sign CD. You waited forever to sign Dak. Why didn't you sign them earlier? You knew that you were going to sign them. Why? So we speculate if Dak should be there or not. Who cares about that? Get him signed and make it about football. And then you didn't go get help. Okay, maybe Derrick Henry doesn't fit this scheme. Got it. Cool. Derrick Henry doesn't fit your scheme. Are there no other running backs available that might fit this glorious scheme that the Cowboys run? Figure it out. So, yeah, this is a disaster of a year for the Cowboys. Can't say that it's anyone else's fault other than Jerry and obviously the play, but they needed more pieces and they didn't go get them. So, I don't think we'll be talking much about the Cowboys moving forward because after yesterday, it looks quite hopeless and they weren't riding high to begin with when Dak went out. Speaking of things going from bad to worse, that was a bad loss for the Bears. I definitely thought the Bears were going to win that game. Didn't even really give it much thought. I think the Patriots are, a rebuilding team, but they have been playing teams really tough this year, and that was awful for the Bears yesterday. They lose to the Patriots at home, 19-3. The coaches are likely not going to be there next year. I do not like calling for coaches to be fired. I don't think it is a good way for you to run an organization to constantly be filing through coaches. I think it's really tough on young players to constantly have new coaches, but there were questions about this coaching staff going into the season, and that to me was always just like a bad sign. You go and get Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick. We know what Caleb was in college. We talked about it all off season. The expectations for him were way through the roof. And this is why I'm hesitant about putting these kind of expectations on, one, rookie quarterbacks, but two, teams that haven't completely put it together and don't have the coaches that have the equity within the league to say, no, like they have a rookie quarterback, but we can take a look at this coaching staff. We can take a look at the moves that we've made. We've seen what they've been able to do in the past. They might be better than we think they are. That's what's happening with Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. Has Jaden been amazing? Of course. But when you look at what Dan Quinn did with that organization and coaching staff, that also tracks. He's in a great situation because he has multiple former head coaches on the staff. Because Dan Quinn is somebody who has taken a team to the Super Bowl. He knows how to put together a coaching staff. Go back and look at the coaches that have coached with him. He's very, very good at this. He's a good culture guy. He has the equity within the league. That's not what's happening in Chicago. And all offseason, all I kept hearing is, this is a good team on paper. Anytime anyone says something about being on paper with me, I get very, very nervous. On paper scares the hell out of me because the thing about saying something is good on paper means you are leaving the nuance out of it. Nuance is important. Oh, they brought in all these new pieces. They went and got veterans. They went and got stars. They went and got this. They went and got that. They've been building on this. They were kind of good at the end of the season last year. They had a good defense. Okay. But Justin Fields still left. And you still had to go get a quarterback. And you still had questions about the coach when Justin Fields was there. You're leaving the nuance out of the situation. It's like when someone's like, oh, like he's such a good man on paper. What's off paper? What's the off paper? The on paper looks good. Good. All tracks, all very in line. The font is good. What's off paper? Because you're leaving the off paper out of the conversation. I'm not worried about Caleb Williams because we've seen that he is capable of being a franchise quarterback and that he can live up to the talent that we expected him to. The Bears and Caleb Williams are two separate conversations for me. And I think that the Bears are going to look on paper very different next year. And that sucks for Caleb Williams because now you've got a young quarterback who's going to likely be entering into a new system with new coaches, a lot of turnover. I think Ryan Poles did a really good job with his team over the past few years, and hopefully he remains there. But they're going to have to make some tough choices, and it's not just based off of this loss. Like, they got to turn things around pretty quickly for the rest of this season, or it's going to get really ugly in Chicago in the offseason. Finally, let's get to some NBA. I, again, am an honest person. I've got to keep it real. I am a certified Cleveland hater. I'm born and raised in Pittsburgh. I do not get down with Cleveland, but the Cavs deserve their flowers. I got to give it to them. The Cavs deserve their flowers. It's always impressive when organizations pull it together. When they get their shit together, they deserve credit. The Cavs went through a lot of different renditions over the years, struggled after LeBron. They have built a really nice culture and identity. Donovan Mitchell is a great player. He is leading the team in scoring, 23 points per game. He's third in assists with 4 assists per game. They are for real. They're for real. They're turning into a legit contender, and they deserve some credit. I have to give organizations credit when they put it together. They have been competitive for the last couple years. They advanced to the conference semis last year for the first time since 2018. The East is going to be more competitive this year. I know the Celtics are, still the favorites, and they should be. They brought back their entire roster. They obviously won the championship last year. They have 2 of the best players on the planet on the roster and a great supporting cast. But I think that the East is going to be more competitive in the playoffs this year, and the Cavs are a team to pay attention to. They are really building something there, and they deserve credit. I got to give credit where it's due. I got to do it. So I'm going to sprinkle some flowers on the Cavs. Don't tell anyone I said anything nice about Cleveland. Thanks so much for joining me today. Make sure you subscribe, hit the subscribe button, like, and comment. We'll get to your comments on Thursday. We're also going to get to a live at some point this week. So follow me on social media at Joy Taylor Talks, and I will let you know when I'm going live for a Q&A. Thanks for joining me, and have a great week.